good, everybody? And welcome back to the Duenkel Productions podcast. This is episode number 13, and this is episode number 3 overall with Jake Mueller. We are very excited to have Jake back in the building with us today. Jake, how are you, man?
Doing awesome. Doing pretty good. A little tired, though, but it's all right. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to talking a little bit of football. We had some interesting storylines this weekend, and we'll sprinkle in a little college football. But just to give you guys a little rundown today, we're gonna be talking about a couple of the biggest things that I saw from the weekend. I'm gonna ask Jake about his Bears and his Buccaneers, but I'm also gonna give him hope for Tampa Bay because I don't think it's over for them. Now, I will start by saying this. We are going to start the top of the show off with what happened last night, which shocked me entirely. It shocked our audience on the pick show. But also, Jake, I have a message for you from my cousin Alex and Cooper Brinkman.
Man,
They said, we told you. Well, they both said, I told you, but, it was a collective effort. Alex FaceTimed me about 3 times yesterday to say your boy Jake was wrong about Derrick Henry, and about the Saints, and about Tom Brady. So it was very interesting. I just sat back and just was laughing at all of them because, obviously I didn't have my team wasn't playing this Sunday. So. But Jake, let's start it out, man. Let's start out with that Saints-Buccaneers game. What did you see? What are some takeaways from you?
well, my first reaction and what I was thinking about the game, I'll start there. I cried. I'm going to be real with you. I cried at halftime. That's when I started crying. It definitely showed vulnerability in the Buccaneers. In just one big aspect, it was that maybe the offensive line isn't that good. Maybe it's not what everyone's raving about. Maybe it's more the sense of maybe the Saints defense is better than most people thought. People were bashing on the Saints defense, saying it wasn't that good. Hey, they got some players on that team though. Drew Brees had a really good game. Yeah, I'm a Tom Brady fan, but I don't really think Tom Brady necessarily lost the game. Yeah, he had 3 interceptions. I get that. No TDs, only scored 3 points. That's atrocious. It was literally the worst loss of his career. 100%. I'm behind that. But I really think the play calling itself, if you look at that game, it was really stale. There's nothing different than the first game they played. So that's a really big problem, especially when you go against a team like the Saints. Sean Payton's an amazing coach, future Hall of Famer for sure, especially when you got Drew Brees, future Hall of Famer. You definitely need to spice it up a bit in order to get some points on the board. And they really, honestly, as you can tell, they didn't even do that. So, a couple of takeaways were they need to fix the communicational errors. There's a lot of stupid penalties, a lot of stupid things like that normally didn't happen with Tom in New England because of Bill Belichick, being such a strict guy the way he is. So am I panicking yet? No. The haters are always going to hate whenever Tom loses, like Cooper and Alex, they're always going to hate. You just got to deal with it. Once Tom's holding the 7th Lombardi trophy, I could tell Cooper right to his face, hey, hit the curb. Simple as that. I'm not worried. It was an embarrassment, but every good team needs to have one.
Are you finished?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Jake. So obviously, I did predict the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. I didn't predict them to run away with it like you did, or the guest on Saturday morning show. My good family friend Fishback predicted that the Buccaneers would quote win this game by a lot. It wouldn't be relatively close. I will say this: coaching is an issue. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got out-coached by everybody on the Saints last night. Sean Payton, he is a future Hall of Fame coach, like you were saying. I would say first ballot without question. Drew Brees, obviously, we all know what he represents, future Hall of Famer. right up there in yards, touchdowns, and all these statistical categories. We can go through them all. But I really think what showed last night is that Tom Brady really misses Bill Belichick. And I will explain a couple reasons why. The errors last night, the penalties, when they would be way down with Belichick as the coach. The offensive line that Tom Brady has had, his seasons in New England have been all-time great offensive lines. I mean, you look at those guys that have came through that door on that offensive line, there was some true, real talent there. Um, I will say this, Tampa Bay got exposed up front, both sides of the ball. I didn't think it was going to happen. Now, I will say this. The Saints were probably the healthiest they've been all year since week one. And week one, they beat Tampa pretty handily. And they're healthy again, and they beat Tampa pretty handily again. Now, do I think the Buccaneers should panic? No. They're a very talented football team. They got a lot going for them. I think they're guaranteed a playoff spot. I will say my one concern is that once you start getting into the NFC, you do have some formidable pass rushers. You know, you obviously talk about the Saints, which they played last night. You talk about the Packers, that hopefully their pass rush continues to build off of their performance on Thursday night in San Francisco. If they were to play the Bears again at any point in the playoffs, the Bears have a great pass rush. Philadelphia, they have a really good defense. Their offense obviously has had issues with injuries and turnovers, but Philadelphia's defense is very formidable. I think there's a little bit of cause for concern there, but I will say I'm not going to bet against Tom to not at least make it to the divisional, the conference championship, or even the Super Bowl. I think this team is still a Super Bowl team. Now, I will say, I agree with your point, Jake. Every good team that that Tampa Bay got last night. I mean, you look at it, Green Bay has taken one this year. New Orleans has taken one this year. Seattle has taken one this year. I mean, all these teams have taken losses. I mean, the only undefeated team is obviously still the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I don't think they're the best team in the league after what I saw yesterday. And we'll get into that game more later. But I really agree with you, Jay. I'm concerned. I'm not panicked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I still think I think there's 4 teams in the NFC right now that could make the Super Bowl, and Tampa's still on my list. I would say Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. I would say those are the 4 definitive teams. Those 4 teams will probably be two and two will be playing each other in the divisional round to see who goes to the NFC Championship game and ultimately decides who represents that NFC in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I couldn't believe it. 28-0 at half.
Yeah, it was. It's an understatement to say that it was a bad game. Like, it was an absolutely embarrassing, terrible. Like, it literally looked like a varsity versus freshman game. It was not anything you wanted to watch. It was not Sunday night worthy. It definitely wasn't prime time, you know. And if you look at it, like if you look at the stats, it was their Tampa Bay's rushing. They had 8 rushing total altogether, 8 rushing yards. I looked it up and it's the worst ever in NFL history. It's an 87-year-old record they snapped last night, and it was bad, you know. But hey, you know, minor setback, major comeback. So we'll see how that one works out. Like you said, like there's 4 legitimate teams in the NFC, but you definitely got to start playing. They got to start clicking together. You know, you got Antonio Brown back. I don't know if they were just too excited and they wanted to use him so much. You know, like, hey, look at our new weapon we got. But hey, you got tons of weapons. There's no way in hell you should be only putting up 3 points, and they shouldn't even have gotten 3 points. That was just like garbage. That's garbage points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
They pretty much got shut out. It was like 31-0 that game. Like the last couple of points were garbage, obviously, but No, they
Well,
need to step it up.
well, and Jake, I'll say another thing too that I think he's starting to stare down Gronkowski a little too much. Again, I saw that a little bit last night. I don't know if you
Yeah, that's like
caught
a
the
safety
play,
blanket. Yeah.
but AB was like wide open and he forced the ball to Gronk, and I was like, Tom's getting back into that habit, and I'm not saying obviously Gronkowski's his security blanket. I think everyone's got him. Obviously, when you talk about Drew Brees, you talk about Michael Thomas. When you talk about Aaron Rodgers, you talk about Devontae Adams. When you talk about Patrick Mahomes, you talk about Travis Kelce. You talk about these guys, so I understand it, but I will say that's the thing that needs to be corrected because when you have arguably Evans, Godwin, AB, Gronk, Cameron Brate, Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy. Those are just the skill positions for this team. Like, there is no reason whatsoever 3 points. And that's the thing going back to the Green Bay performance, that's the thing that was so concerning to me is we had Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Robert Tonyan, who's came on. Yeah, we were missing Lazard, but to score only 10 points, especially when you're up 10-0, I think that people have bad games, teams have bad games, and I think Tampa had a bad game. I will say though, it's concerning because a lot of people didn't expect it. I know that me and you talked obviously on the Sunday Pick Show. Make sure you guys check it out though. Every Sunday we go live on the Dunks Productions Instagram account. Next week there might be some fun stuff planned in there. So but no, we said it yesterday, and we both said we're like, this is going to be a really interesting game, and I think me and you both thought, Jake. I obviously can't speak for you, but we thought that Tampa would come out on fire because of how badly they got outplayed in Week 1. They got outplayed. And this is now the second time, which is concerning because, obviously you talk about the NFC. If Tampa's the 5 seed, they're going to Philadelphia. Obviously, I think they win
Yeah,
that
Philly.
game, but then you're going to probably the 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah,
Which is either Seattle, Green Bay, or New Orleans. Those are tough places to play with or without fans.
no, like you said, they're probably going to get their act together. We'll just see how it works out, but they'll probably end up playing Philly or whoever wins the East.
Yeah.
Which is probably Philly. And I'd put money probably that they'd win that game, but yeah, they're either playing Seattle or Green Bay or Saints. So we'll see how that ends up.
But let's shift to this now. I want to talk about the Buffalo Seattle game. I'm gonna go first on this one because
Yeah, go for it.
I need to get this off my chest. The Seattle Seahawks, and more specifically Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has turned the ball over. He's trying to do way too much. I know I brought this up after the Arizona game, but this man is trying to do way too much, and it's hurting their football team. Now, obviously, Russ is playing at an MVP level this year. Obviously, I don't think he's a front runner anymore. But I'll talk about that later. But Buffalo came out and they wanted to make a statement that they're for real. Coming off a win against New England last weekend, they didn't play their best game, and they brought that energy on Sunday against Seattle. Seattle's defense continues to be a problem. I believe it was they gave up 44 or 45 points. It was in the 40s. I know that. And that's a big problem. Yeah, 44 points. That is a huge problem for Seattle. If they can't get that corrected, they're not even gonna maybe win a playoff game this year. To be honest, the only team that you could probably score that probably wouldn't score 40 in the NFC is probably the Bears and the Eagles. You talk about Green Bay, Tampa, New Orleans. Arizona. I mean, the Rams. Like you have so many of these teams that can can score so many points that Seattle's in real trouble. They're in more trouble than I would say Tampa right now. They're in a lot of trouble, and their schedule doesn't get any easier playing in the toughest division in football. Obviously,
No, totally. You alluded to some like really good points, and shout out to Josh Allen and the boys for not backing down from the big game like this. Seahawks, that's a great team. At least so we thought. I still think they're a really good team no matter what. Russell Wilson did throw 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. But Josh Allen had a really good game himself. He was 31 for 38,
mm-hmm.
415 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's a great game. And if you look at like stats, this game was evenly matched no matter what. But at the end of the day, Buffalo got the points, and they were more efficient on offense. And like we're always going to keep harping on the Seattle Seahawks defense, man. If you give up 44 points, and you're making your offense work twice as hard then, and it's hard to put up that kind of points no matter what. Even if you are like a Kansas City, even if you are Pittsburgh, even if you are Arizona, Tampa Bay, Packers, you name it. It's hard to put up 44 points, but it is what it is. If you have to do that in order to win, because Seattle is not making their defense any better, so they got to be able to do what they can. And so having games like this, against good opponents to see where you rank up, like Buffalo. I know you're all about Buffalo. It's definitely concerning. I would definitely be more cautious towards Seahawks. Russell Wilson did take a step back in this game for sure in the MVP race. I still think he's top 3. In the 2 losses he's had, I believe he's thrown 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, that's a stat itself. Like Jesus Lord, I think I could do a little bit better in those 2 losses, and I'm me. But hey, we'll see how it is. I'm pretty sure. Let's see who they play next. They play.
They're. I got it.
Rams.
I got it.
They play the Rams.
Yeah, well, they play the Rams twice, the Cardinals, and at Philadelphia. Those are.
Yeah, so they got Rams, Cardinals, Eagles, Giants, Jets, Washington, Rams, and 49ers again. So these next 2 games, Rams got a really good defense. Like they're not as like well known. Like I know Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, because the Rams aren't really a contender. No one really thinks of them like that anymore. Still a great defense, still a great ball club. Yeah. And then Cardinals too. Cardinals, we saw them ball out against big games as well. They're not one to take lightly. Yeah, they might have lost to the Dolphins yesterday, but they're still a good team to play against. And then we'll see how it goes. It's definitely concerning though. If you're losing on the arm of Russell, that's their bread and butter. Him to Metcalf, or him to Moore, I think is one of their other big wide receivers. So, or Tyler Lockett, I know that's another one of his big wide receivers. Yeah, so that's concerning. If you're losing the way that you play ball, and bad, like you're losing bad. Like it's only 10 points, but you're chucking up some interceptions, and it's just not working out like that.
No, well, definitely, and I think too part of the problem is that I say this a lot about quarterbacks. When you try to do too much, oftentimes you struggle a few times, and it ends up hurting your football team. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, in probably 2014 to 2016, the Green Bay Packers, they relied solely on the right arm of Aaron Rodgers. If that man was on the field, they had a chance to win. If he wasn't, they were going to get smoked probably. So I think that Seattle needs to run the ball a little bit more. I think, obviously you talk about Chris Carson. I think he's a decent running back. Obviously they got some younger guys in there that, just take a little bit of the pressure off of Russell. I think he's trying to do a little bit too much. But going back to what you were saying about the MVP, I would say right now, Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I mean, I would say Rodgers or Mahomes are number 1 right now. I mean, you could argue whatever way you want. I think I think definitely the State Farm guys are at the top of the pyramid when it comes to the MVP right now.
No, I totally agree with that. I agree with that statement. I think Tom Brady and Russell Wilson definitely took steps back in the MVP race. Um, I think people are just not going to vote for Patrick Mahomes just because it's Patrick Mahomes. Because that success always. LeBron James has had that problem.
Yeah,
You're used to him having good success for so long, and you just kind of get used to it, and you almost take granted for it.
yeah.
And I don't think he'll win it.
Think
I
Rodgers
feel like
has a
Aaron Rodgers
shot?
has a good chance. Yeah, I feel like for me, I would definitely have Aaron Rodgers up there. You know, I don't know. I don't know anyone else that would, because I know they had like Derrick Henry in the mix for a bit, but I think he only had like 70 yards versus the Bears. It wasn't one of his normal games. Like it was a good game. Like if it wasn't Derrick Henry, but you know. So I'll see. I'd put Aaron Rodgers up there.
Shout out to Alex for calling that though. Called
I
that
don't
on
even
the
care,
IG
bro. I don't even
Live.
care, bro. I don't even care, bro. I don't even care.
Dude, you should care. You
I don't even
should.
care, bro.
Dude, he called me up like 3 times yesterday, like, tell your boy Jay he screwed up.
Bro. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't
I
even care,
was,
bro. I don't even care.
dude, I was like, geez, man. Let's shift to this though, because I really want to talk about this. Um, Hit about Tua versus Kyler round two. That did not disappoint yesterday. That was awesome. Jake, what are your thoughts on the Tua versus Kyler part two?
Definitely a good game. Like no joke. It was a good game to watch. Um, Both teams are now 5-3, 34-31 Dolphins. I definitely had Cardinals winning this game.
Yeah,
And I think you did too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But shout out to the Dolphins, man. Tua winning. I don't know if Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't know if he was playing that game. I don't know if they win. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they win. So definitely a good win for Tua. He had a really good game, 20 for 28, 248 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. That's crucial.
Yep.
And then if you look on the opposite side of the ball, Cal Murray pretty much almost had exact stats with 21 for 26, 283, but with 3 touchdowns.
And he
So they
also added 100 yards rushing as well.
Yeah, he also had 100 yards. He was the leading rusher for his team. That's something. And then, but no, it was an exciting game. Came down to the end. Um, but no, it's definitely the future of the NFL. I feel like is in definitely one of these two hands. I feel as if I'd be more comfortable with Arizona lost, but I'd be more comfortable with Arizona than the Dolphins. I don't, you know, I feel like the Dolphins organization isn't ran the best typically throughout history. So we'll see. We'll see how they develop Tua and the rest of the boys there. But it was a good game. I was very surprised. I thought that the Dolphins would get easily defeated. I'll put it at that.
Yeah, I mean, um, this was a game where I thought coming in this was going to tell us a lot about the future of the league. Obviously, I've been very high on Tua. Anybody that's known me knows that I think he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft. And Herbert and Burrow's performances so far hasn't changed that. I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the next great left-handed quarterback. What I like about Tua is that he went to a situation where he could get healthy, because I think that extra 6 games helped him get to A or A plus shape in football, because obviously when you're recuperating from an injury, you don't get to train. You obviously train, but it's not like the training where you need to prepare for an NFL season. It's more recovering from an injury. So I was very impressed with Tua yesterday. I was very impressed with Kyler. I think these two guys are very special. They're very special talents. I mean, I would even say that Kyler Murray, I would throw him in the MVP conversation. I think he might have a shot at winning it this year the way he's playing. Obviously Tua, missing the first 6 games, I really don't see him winning Rookie of the Year. Um, but I think the Dolphins are set up for a good future, and I really like the Dolphins coach, Brian Flores. when you look at teams, Jake, that have won Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowls, I should say. There are usually guys that are defensive coaches with a good quarterback. I mean, obviously, you look. The most recent one is Belichick and Brady. They won 6. I mean, that is something that a lot of people look towards. I was hearing the media talk a lot about this today, and I agree with it. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I think my big takeaway from that game was these look like 2 playoff teams to me this year. I mean, with that extra playoff team, I could really see both of these teams making it. And obviously, Kyler and Tua didn't disappoint.
No, totally right. Like I could definitely see the Dolphins could sneak in as a what's it called, wild card team.
Yep.
I feel like the Bills would win the East. I already feel like they'd win it. But I feel like they
Yes.
can go in as like a yeah. I feel like they can go in as a wild card. But I think you actually made a really good point. I think this was probably the best situation for Tua, or a situation like this in the sense of, more time to heal, but also as like a rookie quarterback. Joe Burrow, like he was starter day one. Like he knew
Yep.
he had to go into it. So there was so much pressure on his shoulders right away.
Yep.
And also to learn the offense, learn schemes, learn defenses. He had it's different. Like college and NFL is completely different. And
Yep.
it's almost unfair to put these like young men, people like my age, your age too, in this situation where, hey, I got a grown ass man coming at me at 20 miles an hour, literally trying to take my head off. So it's almost unfair to do that, because their
Yeah.
development, is just solely based off of like what they already are, where it's the next season, the seasons after that, where they become, if you see they're legit or not. So I think it was a really good situation for Tua to go here. I feel like another good situation, if a place where Tua could have gone, is like the Patriots, since they already had Cam and Bill Belichick. That would, like, places like that where they have, this is our starter,
Yeah.
good coach, good facility to get healthy, because he did have a really big injury. Like, I don't
Yeah.
like, I feel like people aren't really remember it. Like, they're questioning if he could walk again after this, like the same, so it was a really major injury. And I'm definitely, happy for him that he's, doing so good. Like you said, maybe he
Yes.
can become one of the next great left-handed quarterbacks, and maybe bring a Super Bowl to the Dolphins. It's been a super long time. It's been a really long time since they've had a good quarterback too, since
Yeah.
Dan Marino. And I think Miami deserves it. And I'm hopeful for Tua. More good football players, better for the NFL. So I'm about it.
Yes, for sure, without question. But let's shift to this, Jake. You know how I feel about the Tennessee Titans, man. Hashtag Tighten up. You know how I feel about Ryan Tannehill. I think he's better than a game manager, like a lot of people say. Mason Grice, if you're watching this, a message for you. Hey, about them Titans, man. I know you don't like the Titans. You think they're an overrated team, just like you do the Steelers. So, obviously,
Wait, who
we'll
said
see what
that?
happens towards the end of the year. He's a Ravens fan, Jake, so he didn't really like your comments about Lamar Jackson.
Dude, what
LOL.
did I called that game too? I called that. I said Lamar's just gonna have a good game against a team that you never will watch in your life, and then when he plays against the Steelers again, the dude's gonna crap his pants and he's gonna suck. I don't care what you say; it's what it is. But we'll talk about the Titans. I don't want to talk about the Ravens, the most overrated team in the NFL. All right. Tennessee Titans, you and I both knew they were going to beat the Bears. The Bears
Yes,
got no
sir.
offense. I'm sick and tired of talking about the Bears offense, because guess what? It's not a thing. It never will be a thing. Our defense is our offense, and our defense is also our defense. We don't even have special teams anymore. Back in 06, that was the reason why we went to the Super Bowls, because of our defense and because of our special teams. The Chicago Bears will never have an offense. I don't understand why. It's probably from ownership, because we can't get correct coaching, I guess. Matt Nagy, I don't
Uh,
even blame it on Matt Nagy. I blame
no.
it on the offensive line. I blame it on the offensive line,
Yes.
because I told my dad this. I said, with the plays, Nick Foles had at least 3 seconds, like some time to throw the ball. It did look half decent. Like, we did have plays that was like that looked good. You know, I was like, all right. But my God, that poor man literally can't even sneeze, and they're already going to kill him. And it's one of these times this dude's going to get laid on his ass, and we're going to bring Mitchell Trubisky back in. And, well, I don't even know. I think Mitch might be hurt or something. I think he's got something on his shoulder.
Yeah, I think
It's just not a good scene. I personally thought Derrick Henry would have a field day against the Bears personally because I think the Bears defense is just going to start quitting. They've lost 3 games in a row now. I think the Bears defense is going to give up like they did last year.
Yep.
Like it's sad to say, but yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna start with the Bears because I want to save the Titans for last. Um, I will say this: the Bears defense is very, very good. I mean, holding Derrick Henry, obviously we alluded to it, 70 yards. Alex Bucko, my cousin, shout out for calling that. You know, me and Jake both thought he was gonna go crazy. Didn't. But you know, them Titans, man, they're 6-2. Top of that AFC South division. They got a huge game on Thursday night against the Colts. I'm actually really looking forward to the IG Live this Thursday. We do one before the Thursday night game, so this is going to be a fun one to break down. Really, really good, interesting game. But the Titans, yeah, they're good. They're a good football team. They probably win that division. I could see them contending in the AFC as well. I think they're the third best team in the AFC right now. And I think people need to put some respect on my guy Ryan Tannehill. I'm gonna be real with it. But yeah, the Bears offense, non-existent, is a good word to use. I watched that game and it was crazy. The fact that they only scored 10 points, and I mean you could count how many times they had the ball in plus territory, went for it on 4th down, either didn't get the 4th down or missed the field goal or something like that.
What the Bears do best.
Yeah, missed field goals. Insert NFC wildcard video in here. But Jake, Titans are so good. Titans are really good. I really think that it all goes to coaching. I mean, you look at the really good teams in the NFL, Jake. I mean, I think there's 8 of them, and I think all 8 of these really good teams have really good coaches. I mean, you talk about in the AFC, you talk about Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, Kansas City, Andy Reid, Tennessee, Mike Vrabel. I mean, I would throw Baltimore in there just kind of as like a long shot team, but John Harbaugh. I mean, John Harbaugh is a good coach, Jake. Like, I'm not saying, you know, can't win playoff game Lamar. We're not factoring him into this one. Mason, sorry if you're watching this. I know you hate it when I hate on your guy, but, you know, can't win playoff games. And then in the NFC, you talk about Pete Carroll, talk about, you know, Sean Payton, you talk about Bruce Arians. I mean, Matt LaFleur, I mean, I don't know if he's elite yet, but I think he's good. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I think that he is exactly what the Packers needed. I don't know if you could agree with me on that, Jake, but I think Matt LaFleur is a perfect fit in Green Bay. Really do.
Yeah, no, I agree in the sense of that. Like, especially since you have Aaron Rodgers, such an elite quarterback, he's a smart guy. He's a smart football guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helps Matt LaFleur out a lot, you know, having a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But I think you made a good point though from the Bears side. You alluded they had chances to get points on the board, but they just messed up. Rex Ryan always talks about it on Good Morning Football, whatever it is, in the morning. You know, take your damn points. I'm sick and tired of seeing analytics. You know, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to trust my defense. Dude, the offenses nowadays, I don't care if they have 10 yards to play with. They'll get out of that situation. And if not, they'll just punt it. Take your points. Literally, you lost 24-17. Yes, most of the points the Bears got were garbage points. Fine. Let's say not. That's only a touchdown, man. That's only a touchdown.
Yep.
And how many times are we down there? If you kick 2 field goals, it's a completely different game. Yeah, you're still losing, but it's a completely different game. Take your points, all right? Yep. Jesus. I'm sick and tired of seeing, you know, left points. Kick your field goals, or, you know what? Don't get to that situation, but it's the Bears, so, you know, can't even kick a field goal, can't even get a touchdown, you know. Honestly, I'd much rather defense We give them a 3-and-out. They kick a punt. We get it. We'll hand the ball back to them, but we take 5 minutes off the clock, and then we'll go back to the game. Simple as that. That's how it usually is. Tennessee Titans, they're a good team. They're definitely not my favorite to go to the Super Bowl. Kansas City still is. And then Lamar sucks. All right, what's the next topic?
No, so I do want to bring this up, Jake. I do want to bring this up. So just real quick, and then we'll move on to the next topic. But I will say this. Two things. The Duenkel Productions website is coming along nicely. That should be launched at some point this week. And number two, found this app where we can stream live podcasts to YouTube and Twitch. So be on the lookout for some live podcasts from me with some special guests. On Wednesday, I got a really nice show lined up. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. It should be on probably Thursday or Friday, but it's going to be a fun one. I hope y'all enjoyed it. But no, Jake, let's talk about this weekend of college football real quick. I want to just hear like a quick takeaway, something you saw this weekend that impressed you.
Biggest takeaway from this college week, definitely Notre Dame beating Clemson in double overtime, and then the fans not giving a damn about COVID and rushing that damn field and said, "We own this house, boy." That was my biggest takeaway. It was the most I can't even get a word. I'm not Stephen A, but I'm just saying, my God, that's the biggest takeaway. Yes, the Tigers didn't have a lot of players due to COVID, especially a big one, Trevor Lawrence, the future number 1 overall pick to the Jets. But you know what? They still beat a pretty good team, not gonna lie. I feel like Clemson's probably gonna go down to number 2 in rankings. I feel like Ohio State's gonna go to number 1. And I think Notre Dame's going to slide in that number 3 spot, so we'll see how that rocks. But I would not be surprised if Notre Dame were to go 2. I would not be surprised if you see Notre Dame go to 2.
No, I think that's a great takeaway. I will say one thing about this. I said it in the IG Live on Sunday, and I'll say it again here. What the Notre Dame fans did was absolutely ridiculous. You basically just put your whole team, your whole beloved Notre Dame Fighting Irish, at risk for getting the COVID. There could be a game or two canceled because of it. So now you just impacted their chances of making the college football playoff. And you know what? It sucks. I feel bad for those players. You want to know why? Because they worked their butt off to follow the protocols.
Yeah. No, totally. And there's other groups, like there's like I know election stuff's going on, and I know like a lot of people gather down in Washington D.C. and Washington State and like that, and they gather in groups. Like it's an actual like serious thing. Like if you're happy about it, you know, you can post about it. I've seen all the posts in the world. Go for that. Do that. You know, go out in your own personal like house and property and stuff, but don't like start going in groups because like you know. That's what's going to keep, like, doing this. Yeah, there's, like – I just heard there's, like, a vaccine and stuff coming out pretty soon. But at the same time, like, just – I don't know. I don't think it's –
And here's the thing is do what we've been doing, Jake. I mean, me and you record a podcast every Monday. We do IG Lives Thursday, Sunday, Duenkel Productions account. Do those kind of things. That is a good way to do. But my biggest takeaway from the college football weekend, Jim Harbaugh's job is in jeopardy.
It always is, bro. I'm sick and tired of that. He can only win against, like, the subpar teams. You know, Michigan won't ever be the top. Ohio State will always whoop his ass. He's overrated. Lamar's overrated in NFL. Harbaugh's overrated in college football. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. I don't care about his khaki wearing ass, dude. I really don't.
Dude, he switched to blue khakis this year, Jay. Did you hear about that?
Doesn't help him. Still sucks. Hold on. He doesn't suck. He sucks in the big times. You know, he sucks against the teams they pay him millions and millions of dollars to try to beat.
Yeah, just like Lamar Jackson. We
exactly.
You know, Mason, we're sorry. You know, we're taking.
I'm not, dude. It's the truth. He needs to hear the truth. Get a new team.
That's right, Mason. We got plenty of room over on the Packers, and I'm sure Jake would say the same about his Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Nah.
No? No, you ain't got room on the wagon, Jake?
Dude, I got Riley Burbach on my bandwagon team. I got Riley Burbach, man. It's only 2 bandwagoners per team. I got Burbach on my side. He could go to the Packers. He could go to the Saints.
Go, man. Hit about them Packers. Frick, man. That was awesome. I know we beat the 49ers JV team, but I don't care. I'm still hyped, okay? I'm still hyped. And you want to know something, too? I'm also hyped. We're playing the Colts in about 2 weeks. I'm hyped for that game because I think we might actually win because the Colts
You guys play the Jaguars soon?
Oh, yeah. We play them next Sunday.
Oh, that's a dub.
Big dub.
Here, let me pull up your guys'. Oh, here we go. Jaguars, Colts, Bears, Eagles, Lions, Panthers, Titans, Bears. All right. Let's count the losses here. Jaguars, that's a win. Colts, I'll give you a win.
Yeah.
Bears win. Eagles win. Lions win. Panthers win. Titans, I'll say you lose, and then I'll say you beat the Bears. All right. You might. There's like 2 games that are threatening for the Packers in the next 6 games or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Left.
What's that? 13-3?
Yeah. Well, how many losses you guys have? Maybe 4. Maybe 4 losses.
2.
4 losses.
12-4, 13-3. I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
But no, it was a crazy weekend in college football. But we thank y'all for checking out Mueller Monday. We get that fans are loving the Mueller Mondays. We got to get a lot of people watching these more because they are good episodes. It's pure comedy. We're going to try and get Kaylee Mueller on the show. Kaylee Mueller, if you're watching this, hit us up because we want you to come on the Mueller Monday show. I mean, let's be real. It'd be funny.
She texted me. She said, tell Brett he's a baby back. Oh, I can't say that word.
Kaylee's just upset because
she said, I'm sorry I couldn't be on tonight's episode. That's what she said.
Yeah, dude, she's just upset because her beloved boy Tom Brady
No, she's a Jimmy Garoppolo fan, dude. Like, she's a fangirl about that man. She thinks, like, and I quote, she thinks he's like, the hot shit. I was like, the fuck? He's a generic version of Tom Brady. Dude, I think I just have a crush on Tom Brady, to be honest with you. But that's something for me to figure out. Hey, man, it's good seeing you, man. Take care. This is the Duenkel Productions, episode 13. Make sure you check out the live streams Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a great seeing you, Brett. Take care, my man.
Peace out, bro.